Okay, so I think that this is going. Yeah, it looks like 6 people, 7 people are in right now. So sweet, let's just get started. I'm going to briefly post on Twitter real quick that we're live. And hopefully, yeah. Okay, so hey everyone, Dogen here. Just wanted to end the year with a live stream, and as you might be able to tell from the information in the description, Blackmagic Japan, so the camera company, they became aware that I really like their products. So like I have a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera. This is what I normally shoot on um, for my comedic videos. They became aware that I enjoy using their products, so they sent me a couple products. They lent me a couple products to test out for kind of streaming and stuff like that. So I've got some new stuff here I'll be kind of playing throughout the stream, but let's just get started. Looks like a bunch of people are coming in. I literally just subscribed to you like an hour ago. How are you, man? How are you? Konnichiwa. Hello from Russia with love. Dogen sensei, konnichiwa. How do we do 175? Okay. 初見です。何言ってるかわかんない。初見って英語でなんて言うんだろう。First time watching. こんにちは。皆さんこんにちは。So one of the cool things about this gear that they sent out is, well, one of the things that they sent is it's a camera switcher. So it's called the ATEM Mini Pro. And actually, I'll just show you. So hello everyone that's popping in. It's real Dogen. So this camera right here that I'm holding, this is currently hooked up to the stream, and I can switch to this real quick. Let me just do that. So this is camera 4. Hey everybody, now the camera's way too close to my face, but if we go over here, you can see this is the thing that they sent out. It's a camera switcher. So like if I go back and I press this 3 button right here, the feed will switch back to this. So it allows me to switch back and forth, and I can even go to like my comedic style setup, and let me go over there real quick. So now I'm at my comedic setup, my normal setup. I'll go back to the computer though, because the color grading, I didn't have time to properly set up the color grading for this, but okay. So okay, now we should be back at the standard setup. This camera has the best color right now, so I think we'll probably use this for the stream, but I think it's a really, really cool device. And I've also actually got my my PlayStation hooked up to this. I think this is probably a bit too... I have a color grade applied to this, so this might be a little bit too dark for the stream, because the stream, or the color grade that I have applied in OBS is also being applied to this PlayStation stream now. So I'll just switch back. But it's cool because you can really switch back to you can do all sorts of kind of cool things with it. So how do you do your live color grading for streams? So it's a little bit complicated. You can use Blackmagic's like in-camera software to, or not their in-camera software. You can use their switcher software to grade the stream, or you can do it in OBS. I'm currently doing a combination of the two. So it can be kind of crazy, but this is my first time using it, so I'm kind of just setting things up to begin with. I think the ATEM can grade the camera separately, but you can also apply a LUT in the P4K and output it via HDMI. I'm not sure what P4K means, but yeah, I think probably doing an internal LUT. My real name is showing on the screen. Huh. Where's my real name showing? I guess it's kind of too late now, but um, let's just try and answer some questions. I've got about an hour, about 50 minutes left to stream, so I'm just going to try and answer some questions from viewers, and hopefully we can end 2020, which has been kind of a crazy year with some, I don't know, fun live stream video. And actually, there might be an echo because I've got both of my camera, my mics hooked up right now. So I'm going to turn off my standing Blue Yeti mic, and hopefully that makes the audio a little bit better. Okay. Okay. I want that Kaonashi display. Yeah, there's like a Ghibli shop in Yufuin, which is a town in Oita where I live, and they sell a bunch of cool things there. So this is one of the things that they sold. I thought it would make a good prop for a video with like the blinking light inside. Oh. Okay, sorry. There's like this weird pressure thing in my room where the wind is really strong outside, then it makes like this knocking noise in my air conditioner. Oh, I got a Shanae. Is that how you say your name? Shanae, thank you very much for the donation. Oh, Sora the Troll. Sora, I've seen some of your stuff before. I think it's really funny. There's not a lot of Japanese people doing what you do, so it'd be cool if... I think that you've mentioned my stuff before as well. It'd be cool if we could do like a collaboration sometime. But yeah, thanks for popping into the stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, Sora is a little bit... He's going up in the chat right now. He might be gone by now, but... Hi from Canada. I hope that you have a wonderful new year and stay safe for 2021 as well. Yeah, I don't know, but I might have maybe have had COVID. I had a real bad fever like 3 or 4, not 3 or 4, like a little bit before Christmas. So I was in the house until the recommended date before like interacting with other people is over. But yeah, I had a real bad fever and it was real rough, and like I had this really bad pain in my back, but I got better after like a day, so I have no idea if it was actually COVID or not. But since when you had only like 4K subs, you were kind of famous back when I was in university. Interesting. 4K subs, Dogen and Sora collab. Yeah, it'd be cool. We should definitely do something. I tried to get in contact with you via Twitter, but I couldn't. There was like multiple accounts, so I didn't know which one was right. So maybe send me like at me after this live stream is done, and I can reach out to you, and we'll try and make something happen. Good morning from Sweden. Good morning. Do you have any specific goals in mind for 2021? Well, I'm actually working on like 2 entirely new series right now. So as you can see, probably most of you. Let me move my water bottle out of the way. You know, I do the Patreon thing on YouTube, or I do the phonetics thing on Patreon where I teach Japanese pronunciation. So these are some of the books that I use to teach Japanese pronunciation. These are all books about Japanese pronunciation specifically. But I've already made like 80 lessons on Japanese pronunciation. So I think that series so far, it's like probably the best resource on the internet for learning Japanese pronunciation. The information in it is really solid. And recently I've been going back and replacing all of my recordings with like super high quality native recordings from like this trained Japanese speaker that went to like the NHK Academy. So I'm really proud of that series, but because there's already 80 lessons there, we're starting to kind of exhaust the amount of information that's in the series, because there's only so much practical information related to like pitch accent and pronunciation. Oh, by the way, der Dogen best boy akemashite omedetou. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. So I want to try and bring back up the level of practicality. So I'm going to be creating a new series in the fairly near future. It's also going to be a Patreon exclusive series, but on that it's going to be covering Japanese grammar. But the thing that I'm going to try and do is to try and talk about two grammar points at the same time, compare and contrast them, because this is certainly true for me. I'll address this in a second, but there are so many grammar points in Japanese that are very similar, and maybe they have like a slightly different nuance, but I think that most people they only kind of learn like the surface level, and if you could delve a little bit deeper, it really helps with writing in Japanese and also articulating yourself in the most accurate way as possible. So I'll be talking about like, here's a good example. Like if you say there are 3 books, you can say 本が3冊あります。本が3冊あります。There are 3 books, but you could also say 3冊の本があります。So it's like, how are those two different? What's the difference in the nuance? And that's the kind of thing that I'd like to break down in detail in my series, so in the new series. But so someone said Dogen on trash taste when? Oh hey Andy, Tokini Andy, thank you for coming in as well. Andy also already teaches Japanese grammar, and he does a really good job on Patreon as well. So Tokini Andy, maybe some of you guys could check out his Patreon if you're interested in already going to a video resource that talks about Japanese grammar. Again, my series will be less like introducing a point and more like taking 2 points that you probably already know and explaining in detail how those are different. So, yeah, Dogen on trash taste when. I don't know if I don't think they would mind, but as probably most of you guys know, I'm pretty close with Joey. And I've been in touch with Connor and Giguk Garnt. I think I haven't spoken to Garnt as much, but Joey kind of, really nicely said, yeah, next time you're in Tokyo, just let me know and you can pop on. We'll have you on Trash Taste. So it's less of a they've already said you're welcome anytime, but obviously Tokyo is kind of going crazy right now with COVID, and I can't really leave until my girls start going to school, just because I have twin daughters, and with twins it's like every day is crazy, but they'll be starting school fairly soon. So once that happens, probably early next year. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. Spoiler, Luke's father is Darth Vader. Major spoiler. Super chat time. Thank you very much. Sasaeru kage. I appreciate that. I appreciate the donation. Yeah, so I'm in Kyushu. I'm in Beppu, which is really on the outskirts of Japan. Like, I don't think there's any other YouTubers. Well, there's Michaela. Does she still do YouTube? For some reason, I thought that she had like quit for a bit. Maybe she's running again. Maybe I'm just like thinking of the wrong thing. But she She's in Fukuoka, which is fairly close to here. So, so the question is Dogen, Dogen or Dogen. So the correct kanji for Dogen is, I'll just copy it and then paste it. There you go. Give me butter on butter. Do you speak Oita dialect? I understand it, but I don't speak it. One of the things that I have to be kind of aware of is that because I teach pronunciation and like pitch accent and stuff like that, there are differences in different dialects when it comes to pitch accent. So I've always purposely tried to speak standard Japanese such that when I'm like speaking unconsciously and not really paying attention to pitch accent at all, I don't develop any bad habits, so to speak. Maybe we can switch back to this camera for a second. Again, for those that are just joining in right now, I'm using some new gear that Blackmagic, the camera company, well, they make a whole bunch of stuff, but they sent me their ATEM Mini Pro. They lent it to me, as well as the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 4K, because they learned that I'm a fan of their products. I already own 2 of their cameras. So they sent me this thing that makes it really, really easy to just press a button and then switch to different cameras. So, whoa, we just got 2. Sorry, I don't know what currency this is. So I don't know if this is a big donation, so to speak, but Gupta-san, thank you very much for the donation. Man, I'd love to stay and watch for longer, but I've got to get some documents made before the end of the new year. Happy New Year's, Dogen-san. Appreciate it. And then on your grammar series, when will we finally uncover the difference between wa and ga? That's one of the things that I plan on covering. So maybe I can switch back to the other camera now, just for fun. Hopefully the audio is still working. I'm going to try and talk out here for just a second. But when it comes to one of the reasons that I want to make this series is because yeah, one of the reasons that I want to make this series is because I had this definitive moment in university where I was trying to tell a friend in Japanese that I have a test that day, and I didn't know if I should say 今日は試験があります or if I should say 今日試験があります. And the fact that I didn't know, me, who was supposed to be like at that point I was a 4th year Japanese linguistics major, I didn't know the kind of small difference in nuance. I was really, really kind of embarrassed. And so I asked him on the spot which one is actually the correct. And basically, if the just 今日試験があります, that's probably the most natural way to say if you're not trying to talk about any other day. But I think that a lot of people probably think similar things in terms of, I could say it this way, but I could say it this way. What's the difference between those 2 things? So that's what I'd like to cover in the new series. I can't really see the chat from this camera actually, so I'm going to go back to my desk chat, or my desk camera. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, the lighting was a little bit, it's more difficult to grade that camera than it is this camera, because this camera has got really good integration with the ATEM Mini Pro, but the old one, the OG Blackmagic camera, that's it's I don't know if it integrates quite as well. I need to research these products a little bit more, but oh shoot, yeah, the mic. Okay. Sorry for that. The mic should be mic. Okay, the mic should be back now. God damn, this dude speaking English feels so strange after watching so many vids of him speaking Japanese. 私もよくそういう問題があるの。例えば、がとけどの違いとか。Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing. A lot of people think that they understand the difference between those, but they actually don't. So I think that new series would be beneficial for a lot of people. Sorry for the mic issues. I was trying to explain the fact that the camera that I was just using when I was standing, that it's a little bit harder to grade because it's the older Blackmagic camera. So Dogen, is it true? Is that Starbucks story 100% true? Not 100%. But it's got elements of truth in it. I think we've all been in that danger zone, so to speak. I'm going to sleep because it's midnight, but I just want to say, Dogen, I love your videos and your sense of humor. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hope that you have a good night and Happy New Year's. Hey, Dogen, I'm a third-year linguistics major, and I recently decided to take Japanese seriously. Subscribed to the Patreon today. Thanks for all the help. Awesome. I hope that you find this series useful. Again, the series on Patreon right now, it's dedicated specifically to pronunciation, so pitch, accent, and also like where you put your tongue in your mouth and stuff like that. But I'll also be covering grammar in the relatively near future on Patreon as well. So good luck with your future studies. Hey, Dogen, thanks for everything you do. Here's to bright 2021. Much love. Peace. Thank you, new Rook. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm always kind of blown away when I do these streams. It's kind of overwhelming to see like all the comments come in at the same time. Do you know Danjiro, YouTube/comedian who makes English comedy who used to live in Beppu? No. Oh, Daijiro? Daijiro? Let me look that up real quick. Daijiro. Oh yeah. I've seen this guy on Twitter before. I haven't seen his YouTube channel before. I didn't know that this was the guy, but yes, I do know this guy. I think it'd be fun to probably do a collab with him as well. Why is Jar Jar Binks hated by everyone? Probably the the way that he speaks, the voice. Hey Dogen, cheers, and thank you for the donation, by the way, Alfred. Hey Dogen, cheers from Brazil. I'm just a Japanese language enthusiast, and your videos help me a lot by bringing humor to all those conversations. I appreciate it. I'd love to visit Brazil. I've never been to a whole lot of places, but I'd like to visit Brazil specifically. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Good luck with your future studies. 今年道元さんを知りました。いつも楽しく動画を見ています。良いお年を。ありがとうございます。今後ともよろしくお願いします。Love your channel and look forward to new videos. You inspire me to learn Japanese even more than anime. Really? You need to watch better anime then. The new season of Attack on Titan is really good. I'm really enjoying it so far. Thank you for the donation, by the way, Alex. アメリカの大学で日本語を勉強したとき、よく先生に、がではなくて、けどを言った方がいいよ。Oh, sorry, your comment's going out of place. と言われたのに、日本に行ったら自分のスピーチにけどを使ったら先生に叱られてしかったの。一体どうしてなの？がではなくてけどを言った方がいい。So I think that you're saying when you came to Japan, a different teacher told you to say, kedo. Well, the kedo can be a little bit too like informal, casual. So that's not something that you would want to use with your teacher, certainly, unless you're also a teacher and you're like at the same level as them. Let's see. I think I might have missed a Oh yeah, my 10-year-old daughter Caroline and I love watching your videos. Would you mind saying hello to her? It would make her day. Hey Caroline, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you had a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And if you study Japanese, good luck with your future studies and have a great New Year. Okay, hopefully that made it, Hook. Um, let me make sure. Yeah, okay. Hopefully you're still watching. Hey Dogen, wait a second. Hey Dogen, I've been studying Japanese for several years, and it always seems to not get very far. But content like yours keeps me motivated when I start to slack off. どうもありがとうございます。どういたしまして. I'm very glad to provide any motivation at all to Japanese learners. スーパーチャのお金のブラジルに来て. Yeah, so come to Japan with money from Super Chat. I'll save up. 君の日本語はすごく上手です。ありがとうございます。 Purpose, thank you for the donation. Prepare yourself because episode 5 is going to be insane. Yeah, I've read ahead in the manga a little bit, and I'm really excited for the next episode. I'm all caught up, and I'm actually using that. I'm using this series right now to continue to learn Japanese, because like I have no problem in everyday life in Japan because I've been here for so long, but there are so many words still that I just don't know, because you would never know them unless you were studying like that specific field. So like one of the words in the new series is yosai, which means basically like defensive base. And I didn't know that word until I started studying, or until I watched that episode. So I've been kind of like creating new words with flashcards and stuff like that. Ooh, I got to work on my posture. It's not looking so good. Switch back. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, because I mean, there's a million, not a million, but there are many different ways to say like base in Japanese. Like you could just say kichi. That's the one that I was more used to, because I used to go around like the American bases in Japan as part of my old job. So when I heard yosai, I was like, what does that mean? So yeah, I still have a long ways to go as well. Your pronunciation of the Japanese language is so good that it makes me jealous and motivates me to learn it. Thank you. I think my pronunciation is pretty good. I know, the thing is, I know more about pronunciation than I can actually reproduce in my own pronunciation. So like realistically, my pronunciation is probably like an 8 or an 8.5, but there are other foreigners that certainly have better pronunciation than me. I just happen to know a lot about the subject, so I'm able to teach Japanese pronunciation, not because my pronunciation is perfect, because it's not. It's pretty good. I think it's better than the typical Japanese learners, but I studied pronunciation intensively in university, so I know a lot about it. And using like native recordings and stuff like that, it enables me to properly teach it. But I still have problems with like the R sounds and other things. So, Daniel, thank you for the donation. MX50. I'm not sure how much that is either, but thank you. Let's see. Let me go back up. Oh, thank you everyone for the donations. I really, really appreciate it. I know you focus on pitch, accent, and pronunciation, but do you have any recommendations for learning kanji? Actually, well, yes and no. And what I mean by that is my recommendation when it comes to kanji is to not learn kanji like individually. What worked for me well is like using Anki and SRS apps like that, spaced repetition. I can't remember the last S, but maybe spaced repetition system. But if you do that with single kanji, I found that it doesn't work very well. But if you do that with individual words that have kanji in them, that way you'll get really good at that. I found that works a lot better for memorizing kanji than like writing kanji out dozens and dozens of times, or again like just trying to use like a book dedicated to kanji rather than dedicated to vocabulary. I think vocabulary is the way to go, but that's kind of my own 2 cents. Really enjoy your content. Keep it up in 2021. Thank you. Much love from the Dominican Republic. Nice. I've got a friend from the Dominican Republic. He lives in Japan as well. I haven't spoken with him in a while, but thank you for the donation and for the kind words. Happy New Year to you as well. Okay. 今月の給料を全部 VTube に投げました。これから、投げましたから、これしかないのですが、感謝の気持ちをどうしても伝えたくて、動画もレッスンもありがとうございます。伝えたくてね。これからもよろしくお願いします。Well, thank you. I really appreciate the donation, and I'm glad that my videos are kind of an inspiration for you, potentially. I think that's what you're trying to say. So I appreciate it, and good luck with your future studies. Oh wait, the bilingual meme god can speak normally. Are stroke orders important? I think if you're going to learn how to write kanji at all, it's important to learn the proper stroke order. But I think kind of at the macro level, kind of speaking, if you zoom out a little bit, I think that the necessity to learn to write kanji is so low right now. I wouldn't recommend most people learn to write kanji. I think that most Japanese people, that their average writing ability is far greater than like a typical foreigner. But I think that I've written like maybe one time this entire year in kanji. Granted, it was the applications for my daughter's preschool, and there was like 10 pages, and I've got daughters, so it was like 20 pages worth of applications, and I hadn't written any kanji in like a year. So when I started doing those, I was like, oh my God, maybe I should have studied practiced writing kanji a little bit better. But I do feel like, it's probably, well, it really all depends on your priority. Like it's really cool when you can write cool, proper, beautiful kanji, right? But for me, it's more important to be able to like tell jokes in Japanese than it is to be able to write Japanese. So for me, it's not a major priority. But like there's channels on YouTube dedicated to, calligraphy and stuff like that. So to each their own. Okay. Okay, 2000. Thank you very much. Will your series cover the difference between similar nouns like 威力, 権威, is this 威力 and 異性? Sorry, one second. Sorry. Need to work on my reading a little bit more. Yeah. So I've thought about covering, eventually I will be covering the differences in individual words as well. So differences in similar vocabulary, but I'd like to start with grammar because grammar has kind of a larger reach. You can get more of a bang for your buck, I feel like, because typically you use the same grammar point more often in speech than you use words that might not be the best word for that particular instance. So I will get to vocabulary later on, but again, as you can just tell, because I read one of those wrong. But that's something that I need to do a little bit more kind of homework on researching before I teach it. So, and I'm going to be kind of doing a lot of research as I create these new lessons anyway. So, hey Dogen, I'm one of those disillusioned Eikaiwa teachers that left teaching after a short time only to end up missing Japan terribly. Yes! I hope to return someday, but have trouble finding connections, jobs. Any advice? Unfortunately, I think the only advice that I can give you, Andrew, thank you for your donation, by the way, is unless you have like a really strong skill set in a particular field or already have like a massive following on like social media or something like that, probably Eikaiwa is going to be your only way in. But kind of the point that I wanted to make is that there are many disillusioned Eikaiwa, so English teachers in Japan, and many of them, in my experience, and this is true for my previous self as well, certainly, um, and I kind of made a video about this recently, but when you kind of start to get disillusioned, it's more because you're not fed up with Japan, but you're fed up with the fact that you're an English teacher and you didn't want to be an English teacher. You just wanted to come to Japan, right? So you have to develop a skill set such that you can break off of that English teacher trajectory in order to stay in Japan and stay happy. Because most of the people that I've known that have gone back to the States because they quit teaching English because they said, I did the English thing in Japan for a while, but it wore me out. 99% of the time they say, I miss Japan. And that's real good evidence that the fact it wasn't Japan that wore them out. It was the teaching English. So if you're planning on coming to Japan, if you're about to come to Japan, or if you're already an English teacher here, it may be good to try and think about how you can, again, break off of that trajectory if you would like to do something besides English teaching and stay in Japan. Because I think that Japan in general, I find it a very good place to live. I really like living here. So, any of those who had a chance of maybe working in Japan is now a big fat you got bamboozled with that sweet ban of all foreigners, no exceptions. Yeah, I saw something about that on Twitter. I don't know too much about it. Again, as a foreigner that's already living here, and it doesn't really affect me because I'm already living here. But yeah, I saw that there was some stuff on Twitter where people said there was like a new ban, something. I lived in Okinawa during elementary school. It's hard not to feel homesick. Yeah, Okinawa in particular is a really interesting place to be because it's Japan, but there are so many elements of like American culture in Okinawa as well. And the Japanese people there are also much more used to interacting with foreigners. So, like the place that I live, Beppu, it actually has the highest ratio of foreigners to Japanese people because of the university, APU. It's got a bunch of international students here. I gotta go in about 20 minutes, by the way, guys. Just a heads up. But one of the good things about living in Beppu or living in Okinawa or Tokyo to a certain degree, but it's kind of different in Tokyo because Tokyo's just crazy all the time, is that people don't look at you differently because you're a foreigner in Beppu because they're so used to interacting with foreigners already. So some people want to come to Japan because they want to be the only foreigner there. They want to be that novelty in like the small town. And that can be kind of fun, interesting, I guess, when you initially come. But once you've been here for like 1 or 2 or 3 years, the novelty of that will wear off. So you want to be in a place where you can just be comfortable and be yourself. And, there's also kind of like a personal tolerance level. Some people don't mind being like, oh, like pointed at. That didn't really happen to me too much. But some people can deal with that indefinitely. Some people are more, they want to get past that as soon as possible. So. Thoughts on One Wing Angel? It's a great song. I mean, as you can see here, I'm a massive Final Fantasy VII fan. I got like this huge book about Final Fantasy. It's all about like kind of the artwork and what went into it. I probably can't show the inside of a book on a stream. I think that's not kind of kosher, so to speak, but I love Final Fantasy VII. I love that series. I played it on my PS4 last night for about 40 minutes when I was riding my exercise bike. Okay. Lion Star. Graduated from university 5 years ago and am working in supply chain. Interested in living in Japan. Japan. Grad school, good way to achieve that. I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to recommend trying to come to Japan via university unless you were already planning on coming to already planning on going to university, and that's because it's such a large investment, right? Like you don't want to have to pay like $3,000 just to get your foot into the door, or in the case of like college tuition, like $10,000 or $20,000. But if you were already going to go to like maybe a potentially more expensive university, maybe like the States or something like that, then it's certainly an option. Thank you for the donation, by the way. My fiance and I wanted to move to Japan, but we were made aware how poor mixed black and white couples and their mixed children were treated. I don't know too much about that. Again, in Beppu, it's super international here. One of my best friends from university is a guy from Kenya. Kenya? I believe it's Kenya. And there's another guy that I know from Uganda, and they both really like living in Beppu, as far as I can tell. But yeah, again, it's going to kind of be different based on each person's individual experiences. What are your thoughts on wanikani for kanji learning? In my opinion, it's pretty poggers. Again, it really comes down to what your goal is. I think that if you really want to concentrate on kanji specifically, wanikani could be good. But if you're more interested in just increasing your vocabulary, I think that rather than wanikani, it would be better to have just like a flashcard deck that has individual words in that. Come to English to teach Japan. Any plans for a collab with Abroad in Japan soon? Yeah, well, he told me recently that he's going to come to Japan or Kyushu, where I live, early next year. So we'll probably make another video together. I did like a Q&A with him not too long ago. Well, I guess it was a long time ago, but we've done some stuff together, and I'm pretty close with Chris as well. I love Chris and his content. Hello, Dogen's channel, always amusing. Thank you for your donations, by the way, both Daniel and Altarted, as well as Toby and also Huarnang. Sorry if I'm not saying your name properly. Again, when it comes to kanji, writing kanji, you just gotta like buy a book that tells you how to write kanji and practice it when you want to write kanji specifically. And again, with regards to trash taste, Joey's told me that I'm welcome anytime. So once I get a little bit more time next year, I'd love to be on and finally meet Connor and Garnt as well. So because I've been in touch with both of them a little bit over chat. Hey Dogen, what's your experience with Japanese 100+ years ago? Could you comfortably listen to a Natsume Soseki audiobook? Well, not comfortably, but one of the resources that I actually used, what I used to do actually when I was on the JET program, I had a motorcycle, and to practice Japanese, I would listen to Japanese on my commute. So sometimes that was normal conversation, but one of the things that I listened to for like a period of like a month or two was this short Natsume Soseki book called Yume Juya. So that book in particular, I got a pretty good understanding of it after, again, listening to it for like a month or like 2 months and looking up some of the words that I didn't know, like after I got home or after I got to school and stuff like that. But in general, I'm not good with 100-year-old Japanese. I feel that I do best with like 10-year-old, 15-year-old Japanese, because like modern Japanese has so many loan words that it's almost like overwhelming. And it's actually more difficult for me as a foreigner because I have a harder time pronouncing katakana loan words than I do with normal Japanese words, because I have to kind of not say them with an English accent, so to speak. So the accent changes and the pronunciation changes. So for me, it's better to like stick with the native Japanese word. Here's a really good example. The word for guilty in Japanese, like a feeling of guilt, is zayakukan. Zayakukan. But recently, some people say guilty, and that's harder for me to say because it has an R sound in it than zayakukan. Zayakukan, again, I have a little bit trouble with the R sound, so I'd prefer the old Japanese, but you know, what can you do about it? I've already made like 10 videos about that topic and it doesn't seem to be slowing down, so you guys got to help me. Any plans on doing a video with fans who also happen to be around your region after the pandemic has settled? Maybe. I mean, I didn't really know that I had any fans in this particular area. I imagine that maybe there are some people that go to APU that watch my videos, but yeah, right now because of COVID, it's kind of off the table. But yeah, potentially once everything calms down. Thank you for your donation, by the way. Do you consider Japan a good place to raise your children, excuse me, as American? I'm from there, but I can't convince my Californian girlfriend that it's nice. Well, this is a really, really difficult thing to kind of break down in detail. The short answer is that it depends on your values and how you will be able to inculcate your own values in addition to the values that are taught at public schools in Japan into your child. Because I think in general creativity isn't covered enough in Japan, but I'm not worried about that with my daughters because I do creative stuff for a living, and we read a lot of books and they draw a lot of pictures, and I'm going to continue to encourage them to continue to develop their creative abilities. But if you're not putting in that extra work on your end, and your goals and your values don't line up with kind of traditional Japanese values as taught in public schools, then there might be some friction there. That said, the healthcare is really good. I do think that the taxes are going to be they're going to go crazy over like the next like 20 or 30 years just because of the aging population and the guaranteed social security for the older generation that's already paid into that system. It's kind of like an insolvable problem to a certain degree unless like Japan brings in a whole bunch of foreigners. But we'll see what happens. Dogen さん、同僚にいじめられている。どうすればいいと思う？同僚。So you're being bullied? That's bullied, right? Yeah, いじめ。What should I do because I'm being bullied by my coworker? Geez, this isn't the question that I was preparing for answering when I started this stream. I don't know. I think probably the best thing would be to go to your boss. If you haven't already tried to maybe confront that person directly. It's hard to give you any advice without knowing more about your specific circumstances, but I would probably go to my boss. Thank you for the donation, by the way. Know any foreign welders in Japan? I would like to move there someday, but it has been difficult finding companies that offer work visas for welders. I don't, but I have a hunch, and this is just a hunch, keep in mind, that there may be kind of like a new opening for visas and foreigners in Japan in the relatively near future, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, when Japan starts to realize, really starts to feel the pressure of the aging population, and they might give foreigners more opportunities to work in Japan, even if they're not like English teachers, like with more specific skill sets like welding. So hopefully that answers your question, and hopefully that happens. What a pleasant surprise to catch you doing an end of the year stream. Thanks for doing this. How much more thought/planning have you given to giving up U.S. citizenship and gaining Japanese citizenship? Good question. I'd really like to give up my US citizenship just because I think for me, at this particular point in my life, there aren't any benefits of holding my US citizenship. Like the main thing that I have to do because I'm a US citizen in Japan is that I have to spend like 40 hours each year filing my American taxes on top of my Japanese taxes and also pay some amount into the US government. And 40 hours for me is a massive amount of time because I'm a dad. And when you're a dad, you don't have any time. So I don't currently, like at the moment, really have any benefits for by holding my American citizenship. But it is kind of like an insurance policy. You know, like if things get really bad in Japan with like, I don't know, real estate and healthcare and stuff like that, I always have the option to move back to the States. So that's, yeah, it's an insurance policy, so to speak. But each year that passes, I give more and more serious thought into giving up my American citizenship. So we'll see what happens over the next 4 or 5 years. I got to go in about 5 minutes, by the way, guys. Thanks for everyone that's already come out to the stream. I'm going to plug Blackmagic again. Lloyd, thank you. Thanks for the laughs from Sapporo. So, for those that are, again, just joining in, I'm using this. I'm going to switch cameras. I'm using this ATEM Mini Pro that Blackmagic Japan sent out to me. They lent it to me. And I've also got like a bunch of other products from them that I've been using for a long time. So like this camera that I'm currently shooting on, this is a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. That's a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. That's a Blackmagic camera that they lent me. But with this switcher that they sent me, I can really easily switch between, if I press that button, then I can really easily switch between, you know, different cameras, and I can do some cool tricks with like audio and, you know, just making it look more professional. So again, thanks to Blackmagic for lending these to me. I love your products, as you already know, and I plan on using these as long as you let me. So let's try. There was a couple more questions. What are the names of the books behind you when you do your comedic skits? I looked through your bibliography. So the top book is Atlas Shrugged. I like that book quite a lot. And I know it's really philosophical, and I'm not saying that that's the correct philosophy for everyone, because I don't think that it is the right philosophy for everyone. But I like that book a lot. And then the other book is Yu Tsutachi. So that's a Kanehara Hitomi book. That's another book that I really like. So one of the main reasons that I got into creative writing to begin with, and also, creative writing in Japanese, is because of that book, Yu Tsutachi, so that Kanehara Hitomi book. So, bro, why is your voice so different in English? I can't do a backflip anymore, unfortunately, but maybe one day when I get all my joints fully repaired. Let's see. Did I answer that question? Yeah. Okay, that was the question about. Love your channel and look forward to the new video. You inspire me. Oh, yeah, okay, I answered that one as well. Okay. So, guys, I got to go in like 3 or 4 minutes or so, but if anyone has any additional questions. What lens do you use for your joke videos? The rendering and the color aberrations are quite characteristic. So it's a Sigma Art 30 millimeter 1.4 that's connected to a Metabones speed booster, and that goes into the original Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. So what books do you recommend for beginners learning Japanese? Genki is a really good book, actually. Genki. Say PogChamp. PogChamp. O genki desu ka? Do you miss your parents in your home? I do miss my parents in my home, but I really like living in Japan. And I Skype with them a lot. So it's you know, we can't meet, but I couldn't meet them anyway during this time because they're in their late 60s at this point. So because of COVID, you know. Best Japanese pizza shop? I don't know. Ask Aki Dearest. She's done a bunch of videos about like Domino's in Japan, and those videos are always really good. Okay, I got 2 minutes left. When did you stop tricking? I stopped tricking when I started doing YouTube. So that was December 2015. Also, my body was falling apart because of tricking, so I had to kind of stop. Sorry, my kids are knocking on my door. I'm about out of my time, so my wife and I take turns watching the kids. So I gotta go in just a second, but that's what that noise is. Explain the title, Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't seen this show. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I don't know the kanji either, so I can't explain it, unfortunately. I love your content, man. You keep me motivated to keep learning Japanese, going on 4 years, and recommend your videos to my Japanese Cambly students. Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu. I appreciate it, Jack. I really, it means a lot to me every time that someone says that, you know, they get inspired by watching my videos. So thank you, and yoyo toshio. Have a good New Year. Happy New Year. When are you coming to the States? Maybe never. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'll visit, certainly, for sure, but is there a Discord server for me? Not one that I'm in charge of. There might be some that, I don't know, other people are doing. I don't really do Discord. Manga yomimasu ka? I read the Attack on Titan manga a little bit, just because I got like really into it, but yeah, so I think we're basically out of time, so I'm just going to end things here. Again, thank you very much to Blackmagic for lending me this really cool camera equipment. Oh, yeah, there goes my timer. That allows me to switch between all these different cameras, my normal camera, my PlayStation, this camera, my camera over here. Blackmagic makes a lot of really cool really budget-friendly resources for people that are trying to get into video production, things like YouTube. So if you're into YouTube or you're trying to start a YouTube channel, potentially check out Blackmagic. I've always used their stuff and I love it. But yeah, I got to end the stream here. So thanks everyone so much that came in. I really enjoyed this. I hope that hopefully next year, 2021, is a little bit better than this year. Hopefully we get off to a good start. But again, thanks to everyone for coming in, and there'll be a new comedic video in the fairly near future. So happy New Year, and I'll talk to all you guys again soon. Sayonara.